Usually, when we talk about adopting a new piece of technology for your business, there's this expectation of immediate relief.
Right, like flipping a switch.
Exactly. I mean, think about hiring a commercial cleaning service for your office. You hand over the keys on Friday evening, you go home, and you walk back in on Monday morning to like spotless floors and empty trash cans.
Yeah.
You don't expect to have to follow the cleaner around all weekend with a dustpan, pointing out every single spot they missed.
That would entirely defeat the purpose.
Right. But stepping into the current world of AI agents, well, for a lot of solo creators and small business owners, it feels exactly like holding that dustpan.
Yeah, it really does.
You're just standing behind a very confused robot, constantly sweeping up its messes. So for this session, we are cutting right through the hype. It's a tight, efficient, no-hype morning session for you.
Because you've got things to do.
Exactly. Our mission today is to move past all the glossy marketing of the AI industry and break down exactly how you can use AI workflows to actually save time and improve your work.
Real actionable stuff.
Yeah, we are focusing on memory, skills, and using AI as a critical sparring partner, specifically tailored for those of you operating lean and moving fast.
And, this requires a fundamental shift in how we view these tools. Because the industry, they want you to focus on the fantasy.
Right, the fully autonomous digital employee.
Exactly what AI might be in 5 years. But your business needs efficiency today, so we have to look strictly at the mechanics of extracting, maximum utility from the standard model sitting on your desktop right now.
Without turning it into a full-time management job.
Yes, exactly.
To get us there, we've stacked some phenomenal sources for this deep dive. We are pulling heavily from Sabrina Ramonov's Substack, which does just a brilliant job breaking down structural prompting patterns for models like Claude and ChatGPT.
It's a great piece.
It really is. And we are cross-referencing her structural approach with a recent breakdown from the YouTube channel Parker Prompts.
Which is fascinating, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. That video provides a really incredible look at how Grok AI is currently shaking up the tool landscape by operating with just a completely different set of rules than its competitors.
Yeah, so Ramonov supplies the architecture, right? The actual syntax and philosophy of how to communicate with these systems.
Yes.
And then Parker Prompts provides a real-world stress test. It shows us how different models react to those exact same architectural demands when they're actually deployed in the wild.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with
Yeah.
the reality check on where the AI landscape actually is right now compared to what the billboards are telling us.
The gap between the two is huge.
It's massive.
Yeah.
I mean, every single week, my feed is just flooded with a new startup promising an AI employee.
Oh, yeah. Just set it and forget it.
Right. They claim you can just type, run my marketing for the week, hit enter, and walk away to the beach.
Which is overwhelmingly how the marketing rhetoric is built right now around this concept of agents. And, to understand why that's problematic, we need to look at the Parker Prompts research.
Yeah, they used a really specific feature for this, right?
They did. They utilized Grok's deep search feature to investigate the actual user experience with these autonomous platforms, like Crew AI.
And deep search is different from just a normal Google search.
Very different. It's unique because of its architecture. It doesn't rely solely on indexed static web pages. It is directly plugged into the XAPI firehose.
Meaning it's pulling from Twitter, basically.
Exactly. It's ingesting millions of live, ongoing conversations in real time.
Which gives it an entirely different flavor of data. I mean, if you ask a standard model to search the web for Crew AI reviews, it's going to scrape SEO-optimized tech blogs or like the company's own press releases.
You get the sanitized version.
The official narrative, right? But Grok is pulling the 2.0 AM frustrated posts from a developer who just watched their workflow crash for the 4th time.
It captures the raw friction.
Yes.
And that depth search surfaced a massive chasm between the glossy tech demos and actual boots-on-the-ground usage.
Because the official promise is, what, you give the AI a high-level goal, and it autonomously breaks that goal down into subtasks.
Right, it executes them sequentially, hands you a finished product. That's the pitch. But the reality is that users are experiencing brutal setup times and incredibly brittle configuration.
Okay, I think we need to define brittle here, because it's really the core of the problem.
Good idea.
Because if I build an automation in Zapier, let's say, when someone buys my course, add them to my email list, that's robust. It just works.
It's a simple trigger and action.
Right. But with these AI agents, brittle means if one tiny variable changes, or the AI slightly misunderstands step 2, the entire chain just implodes.
Yeah, and if you connect this to the bigger picture, that implosion happens because of the underlying mechanics of large language models.
The token prediction thing.
Exactly. These models operate on probabilistic token generation. They are literally just guessing the next most likely word based on their training data. So when you have a single-step prompt like write an email, a slight deviation in probability might just result in a weirdly phrased sentence. No big deal.
You just edit the sentence.
Right. But in an autonomous agent, workflows are multi-step and chained together. The AI is supposed to research a topic, then write a summary, then format it into a newsletter, then draft the social copy.
So a small error cascades.
Massively, it creates a phenomenon called compounding errors.
Walk me through what that actually looks like.
Sure. So if the model hallucinates a seemingly minor detail in step one, let's say it pulls the wrong pricing tier from a competitor's website, it treats that hallucinated fact as absolute truth for step two.
Oh, wow. So it builds on its own lie.
Exactly. By the time it reaches step four, the social media copy it generates is completely untethered from reality. The entire project is derailed, and the software has no intrinsic way to realize it went off track.
Which just forces the human right back into the loop.
Yep.
It reminds me of dealing with a highly caffeinated, just incredibly enthusiastic intern.
That is a perfect analogy.
Right. Like they work at absolute lightning speed, they never need to sleep, and they will tackle any project you throw at them. But the catch is, you have to stand directly over their shoulder, watching their screen.
Babysitting.
Yeah. The moment they start misinterpreting a competitor's pricing, you have to hit the brakes, correct them, clarify the instructions, and restart the whole process.
And the sheer speed of the model's output creates a very dangerous illusion of productivity.
Because the words are appearing so fast.
Right, watching text fly across the screen feels like work is getting done. But if you have to spend 3 hours untangling the hallucinations and editing the intern's work, when you could have just executed the task yourself in 45 minutes?
Then what's the point?
Exactly. The entire premise of delegation collapses. You haven't bought back your time. You've just converted your workload from execution to endless, tedious supervision.
And for a solo creator, I mean, time is the ultimate constrained resource.
Yeah.
We can't afford to be middle managers for software.
Absolutely not.
So if the set it and forget it multi-step agent is fundamentally flawed right now due to these compounding errors, we have to pivot.
We need a different approach.
Right. We need to focus on optimizing the direct interactions we have with standard foundational models.
Which brings us directly to the structural philosophy Sabrina Remenov advocates.
Okay, let's get into this.
Getting high-level professional outputs from an AI is not a waiting game. The solution isn't hoping OpenAI or Anthropic releases a model with a higher version number next month.
Right. We can't just wait for GPT-5 or whatever.
No, the solution is taking absolute control over the context window of the model you are currently using.
And this tackles what I consider, honestly, the most infuriating part of using AI as a solo operator. It's the Groundhog Day effect.
Oh, the amnesia.
Yes. Every single morning, you open a fresh chat window and the AI has complete amnesia. You find yourself typing out the exact same paragraph. I am a fitness coach for entrepreneurs. My tone is energetic but highly analytical. My target audience is founders over 40.
Over and over again.
Yeah, rederiving that context every single session is just exhausting.
Remenov refers to this exact bottleneck, and her solution is the implementation of a memory pattern to establish what she calls durable facts.
Okay, let's break down the mechanics of a durable fact. I think we need to understand the difference between the AI's underlying training data and the context window we are interacting with.
That's a crucial distinction.
Right. I like to think of the training data as a massive, infinite public library. The AI has read every single book in there. But when you open a chat, the context window is just a tiny wooden desk.
That is a very apt metaphor.
Thanks. So the model can only process the specific information you place on that desk during your current session.
Right. It doesn't matter what's in the library if it's not on the desk.
Exactly. So if you wanted to write a newsletter in your voice, you have to go into the library, find the book about your business, and put it on the desk every single time.
Which is the Groundhog Day problem.
Yes. So the memory pattern changes this by essentially gluing your specific book to the desk permanently.
Beautifully put.
You explicitly instruct the model to save the unchangeable bedrock facts about you and your business into its persistent memory.
You are totally bypassing the blank slate. And the technical execution of this involves using the custom instructions or the memory features that are now built into ChatGPT and Claude.
So it remembers across sessions.
Yes, but the strategy lies in what you choose to define as a durable fact.
Okay, what makes the cut?
These are your core values, your primary product offerings, the specific psychographics of your audience, and your hard negative constraints, the things you never do.
Right. Never use emojis, things like that.
Exactly. By loading this foundation, the AI understands its persona and your operational reality before you even issue your first command.
Okay, I am going to throw a massive red flag on the play here, though.
Oh, let's hear it.
Well, my business, like most, has a lot of moving parts. I have 3 different lead magnets, 2 flagship courses, a consulting tier, a podcast.
That's a lot of context.
Right. If I take everything I know about my business and just dump it into that custom instruction box, aren't I just creating a different kind of chaos? If I stack 50 books on that tiny wooden desk, won't the AI just get completely overwhelmed and start mixing up my campaigns?
Your intuition is spot on, and it aligns with a really crucial contrarian finding highlighted in the source research.
Oh, really?
Yes, there is a default assumption among users that maximizing memory equates to maximizing performance.
Oh, that's better.
Right. We assume that if the AI knows literally everything, it will execute perfectly. But the reality of how attention mechanisms work in large language models dictates the exact opposite.
So feeding it more data actually degrades the output.
Dramatically. The technical mechanism here is called attention dilution.
Attention dilution. Okay.
When an LLM processes text, it assigns an attention weight to every single token, basically, every piece of a word. If you give it 3 crisp, clear paragraphs about your core business, it highly weights those paragraphs.
Because it's all it has to focus on.
Exactly. But if you give it 20 pages of detailed minutia about every product iteration you've had since 2018,
It gets lost in the weeds.
its attention is spread entirely too thin. It struggles to differentiate between a core brand value and, say, a temporary discount code from last Black Friday. The goal is selective persistence.
Selective persistence. I really love that phrasing. We are curating, not hoarding.
Yes, the research indicates you only want to commit the absolute, undeniable bedrock to permanent memory. You want the AI to remember the load-bearing foundation of your brand, not the temporary scaffolding of last week's marketing sprint.
That makes so much sense.
Because if you clutter the memory with temporary information, the model loses its strategic focus and begins hallucinating connections between completely irrelevant data points.
So if you are listening to this right now, your immediate action item is to audit your AI's memory settings. Keep it lean.
Very lean.
It needs to know your mission statement, your brand voice, and your primary customer avatar. It does not need to know the specific subject line of the email you sent last Tuesday.
Exactly. And once you have the memory pattern established, once the AI knows who you are, you can transition to the skill pattern, which dictates how you work.
Okay, memory is the who, skill is the how.
Right. And this is where we see the concept of compounding usefulness. Ramenov details how to abstract successful, repeatable work into a reusable tool.
Walk me through the actual syntax of building a skill, because it sounds like we are bordering on programming, but, using plain English.
It is a bit like programming. The mechanism relies on something called few-shot prompting.
The few-shot prompting.
Yeah, which is a technique where you provide the model with a few concrete examples of the desired output to guide its behavior.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's say you write a weekly analytics report for your clients. It needs a specific executive summary format, a bulleted list of KPIs, and a section for strategic recommendations.
Standard stuff.
Normally, you'd write a giant prompt every week explaining these formatting rules from scratch.
And hope the model doesn't get creative and decide to output it as a haiku this time?
Which it will, eventually, if you leave it up to chance. The skill pattern formalizes this. You spend the time in one session refining the prompt until the model produces the absolute perfect report.
Just nailing it one time.
Exactly. Then you issue a structural command. You explicitly tell the model, analyze the structure, tone, and formatting of the report we just created. Save this exact process as a new operational skill named Client Analytics Protocol.
Oh, wait. You are actually naming the workflow.
You are packaging the instructions into a callable function. You instruct the AI.
Right.
Whenever I invoke the phrase run client analytics protocol followed by raw data, apply all these formatting rules without needing further instruction.
You are teaching the model to recognize a trigger phrase and associate it with a complex set of hidden instructions.
Exactly.
There's essentially building personalized software without writing a single line of code.
It's incredibly powerful.
So next week, I just drop in a spreadsheet of raw numbers and type run client analytics protocol.
And that's
The AI pulls the skill from its memory, applies the rules, and spits out the finished report.
Yes. And the more of these skills you formalize, whether it's for editing podcast show notes, formatting a newsletter, or drafting invoice emails, the more the tool aligns with your specific operational velocity.
You are transforming the AI from just a generic text generator into a customized operational toolkit.
But integrating the model this deeply into your workflows introduces a very subtle yet incredibly dangerous vulnerability for a solo business owner.
Uh-oh. Here comes the catch. The yes man dynamic.
The alignment trap, yes. By default, these models are engineered to be absolute sycophants.
We really need to unpack the mechanics of why they act this way, because it isn't an accident.
No, it's very deliberate.
And it brings us to the core of Ramanov's next concept, the sparring pattern. Because the reason your AI acts like a desperate-to-please intern is due to how it was trained, specifically a process called RLHF.
Right. Reinforcement learning from human feedback.
Explain that for us.
So, RLHF is the final polishing stage of training an LLM. After the model reads the entire internet, it's a bit, well, unhinged.
It's just a raw prediction engine.
Right. So companies use human raters to fine-tune its behavior. The model generates 2 answers, and the human clicks the thumbs up on the one they prefer.
Sounds logical.
The issue is human psychology. Human raters overwhelmingly give a thumbs up to answers that are polite, affirming, and validate the user's premise.
Oh, wow. So the humans inadvertently trained the AI to stroke our egos.
Exactly.
If I go into ChatGPT right now and say, I'm going to pivot my entire business to selling ice cubes to penguins, here's my marketing plan, the AI, driven by that RLHF training, will say, that is a highly innovative strategy. Here are 5 ways to maximize your penguin outreach.
It will completely agree with you. It lacks intrinsic critical judgment. It is structurally biased toward agreement.
Which is catastrophic for a solo creator.
Oh.
I mean, when you operate alone, you don't have a co-founder to tell you an idea is terrible. You don't have a legal team or a financial controller to poke holes in your margins.
You're on your own.
If you use an AI as a sounding board, and it only ever validates you, you are sealing yourself inside a highly efficient, artificially generated echo chamber.
This is where the sparring pattern becomes the most valuable tool in the shed. To break the AI out of that alignment trap, you have to explicitly command it to abandon its default helpful persona.
You have to force it.
You have to force it into an adversarial mode. You are structurally shifting the AI from generative execution to critical analysis.
And the Romanov source provides very specific prompt architecture for this, right?
Yes. You cannot simply ask, what do you think of this business plan?
Because the RLHF bias will trigger.
Exactly, and it will tell you it's excellent. You have to demand friction.
I think of it as building a red team.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
In cybersecurity, a company hires a red team of hackers to aggressively attack their own systems to find the vulnerabilities before the real bad guys do. The sparring pattern basically turns the AI into your strategic red team.
And the phrasing of the prompt is everything here. You instruct the AI, adopt the persona of a highly skeptical, deeply experienced venture capitalist who is looking for reasons not to fund this project.
Reasons not to fund. I love that.
Right, you tell it. Identify the 3 most critical blind spots in my logic. Challenge the weakest points of my customer acquisition strategy.
My absolute favorite prompt technique from the source material takes this a step further.
Which one?
You ask the AI, state exactly what empirical evidence would be required to prove that this plan will actually work.
Oh, that prompt is devastatingly effective.
It really is.
Because it completely shifts the burden of proof. It stops the AI from generating new ideas and forces it to audit the foundational data of your existing idea.
The source gives a brilliant, concrete example of this. A user fed a comprehensive business plan into the model and deployed the sparring pattern.
And what happened?
Instead of the usual applause, the AI just tore it apart.
Perfect.
It identified that the proposed pricing model was dangerously weak compared to market standards. It pointed out that the target demographic was so broad that the marketing budget would be completely diluted, resulting in 0 traction.
Ouch. But necessary.
Right. And it highlighted that several core promises in the plan were entirely unproven assumptions, masquerading as facts.
That level of critique is invaluable. I mean, imagine the capital and time time saved by discovering those flaws before launching.
Exactly. You are using the AI to stress test your strategic thinking. You walk into the virtual boardroom, pitch your product, and instead of clapping, the AI starts demanding to see your customer acquisition cost and questioning your profit margins.
It fundamentally changes the relationship from subordinate intern to strategic advisor.
It really does.
Yeah.
However, as powerful as Claude and ChatGPT are for these highly structured, analytical sparring sessions, they have limitations.
They do.
They are excellent in a vacuum, but they are completely disconnected from the cultural pulse of this exact moment.
They are deliberate, heavily filtered, and structurally safe.
Which brings us to the insights from Parker prompts on matching the tool to the task, and specifically, why Grok is carving out such a unique space for solo creators.
The comparative analysis in the Parker prompts video is really illuminating. The creator spent weeks running identical prompts through ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Grok.
A real head-to-head test.
Exactly. And the conclusion is clear. If you are using Grok as a generic chatbot to summarize a PDF or write a polite email, you are misusing the tool.
You're using a sports card to go to the grocery store.
Right. You are missing its architectural advantage.
And that advantage boils down to its training constraints, or rather, its lack of them and its data pipeline. Let's talk about the personality first, because it ties right back to our discussion on our LHF.
It does.
OpenAI has spent years tuning ChatGPT to be the ultimate corporate employee. It is terrified of offending anyone. It hedges every single statement.
We call that corporate speak. The model will rarely take a definitive stance on a nuanced issue without wrapping it in 3 paragraphs of caveats, explaining that while some people believe X, others believe Y, and it's important to consider multiple perspectives.
Ugh, the classic AI waffle.
Exactly. Claude operates similarly. It heavily prioritizes harmlessness, which often results in sitting firmly on the fence. Grok, however, is explicitly tuned for directness.
The video host actually ran a test on this. He wanted an intro for an essay arguing that AI agents are currently overhyped, which is, funny enough, the exact topic we opened with today.
Fitting.
He used custom instructions across all the models, explicitly telling them, write with absolute confidence, take a clear, hardline position, do not apologize, and do not use caveats.
And despite those explicit instructions, ChatGPT structurally struggled to comply.
It couldn't do it.
No, it still produced a hedged, sanitized introduction that read like a B2B white paper. It is deeply resistant to adopting an abrasive or definitive tone. Claude was marginally better, but still lacked punch.
But Grok took the prompt and sprinted with it.
Oh, it loved it.
It delivered a punchy, aggressive, highly opinionated statement that called out the set it and forget it myth without a single apology. It sounded like a real human being with a strong point of view.
And the technical reason for this attitude advantage is crucial for creators to understand. Content on the modern internet operates on an attention economy driven by friction.
Friction. Explain that.
If your writing is perfectly balanced, entirely agreeable, and totally inoffensive, it lacks a hook. It provides no friction. Readers simply scroll past it.
You need a spiky point of view.
Yes.
No one stops their scroll to read a 5-page essay on the hypothetical pros and cons of software development. They stop scrolling when someone plants a flag and says, this tool is broken, and here's exactly why.
Exactly. And Grok is willing to generate that slightly provocative, blunt content that the other models refuse to touch.
The host even pushed it further, prompting Grok to be more blunt and don't be polite about the overpromising.
And Grok dialed up the intensity perfectly.
It really did.
It delivers content with a spine. But what's fascinating here is it's not just generating this attitude in a vacuum, it's grounding it in real-time reality.
The X API integration.
Right. This goes back to Grok's integration with the X API firehose. Standard models rely on RAG retrieval augmented generation, which means they search the web, pull an article, and summarize it.
It's static.
Right. Grok is synthesizing the live sentiment of millions of human beings reacting to an event in real time.
Which means it finds the actual tension.
Yes.
If a major tech company drops a new product update today, ChatGPT might eventually find a press release about it. But Grok can instantly synthesize the anger of 10,000 developers complaining about a specific bug in that update over the last 2 hours.
It gives you concrete cultural context.
And for a solo creator, capturing that real-time tension is often the difference between a post going viral and a post being totally ignored.
It's a massive edge.
The video also highlights how Grok removes massive amounts of UX friction user experience friction from the creation process.
Which is huge for speed.
Right, because as a solo operator, context switching is a killer. If I write a script in ChatGPT, I then have to open a new tab, boot up Midjourney, write a completely different style of prompt, wait for the image to generate, tweak it, download it.
It breaks your flow state.
Completely.
Right.
But Grok consolidates that workflow entirely.
The host used Grok to write that edgy script about AI agents and then immediately used the built-in Imagine tool on the sidebar to generate the visual.
All in one place.
He prompted for a dystopian robot sitting at a desk looking overwhelmed, surrounded by floating error messages and tangled wires.
Again, perfectly capturing the reality of those brittle autonomous agents we discussed earlier. But the real genius is in the interface itself. When Grok generates an image, you don't just get 4 options and have to reprompt, like in Midjourney.
No, it's continuous.
You can endlessly scroll. The model just keeps dynamically generating new variations of the image as you scroll down the page.
You don't have to stop your workflow, adjust parameters, and wait.
You just scroll until the exact right image hits your eye. That single feature saves a staggering amount of time when you're trying to publish quickly.
It fundamentally reduces the friction between ideation and publication. Furthermore, the source explicitly notes that Grok's image generation is far less restrictive than tools like DALL-E.
Right, DALL-E blocks everything.
It often blocks completely benign prompts out of an overabundance of caution regarding public figures or specific artistic styles. Grok allows for much greater creative latitude.
It even handles basic video generation right there in the same interface. You can take that image of the overwhelmed robot and prompt it to create a looping animation of the robot putting its head in his hands.
All in the same window.
It's not going to replace a professional video editor, obviously, but for a quick, engaging visual to stop the scroll on a social feed, it is phenomenally efficient. You get real-time cultural research, opinionated drafting, and visual assets, all without ever changing tabs.
It really positions Grok as the ultimate engine for outward-facing, velocity-driven content.
Which brings us to the crucial synthesis of this deep dive. If you are a solo creator or a small business owner listening to this, the mandate is clear. You have to shift from being a passive consumer of AI outputs to becoming an active director of your AI workflows.
The shiny object of the fully autonomous AI employee is currently a mirage.
It's just not there yet.
No, it will consume more of your time in supervision than it saves in execution. Your immediate competitive advantage lies in mastering the fundamental models you already have access to.
You implement memory patterns to lock in your durable facts, preventing that exhausting Groundhog Day amnesia.
Right.
You use skill patterns and few-shot prompting to formalize your successful workflows into compounding callable functions.
Turning work into tools.
Exactly. You actively protect your business from the AI echo chamber by deploying sparring patterns, forcing the model to act as a ruthless red team that demands empirical evidence for your ideas.
And critically, you match the tool to the task.
You recognize that Claude and ChatGPT are your structured analytical engines, but when you need to tap into the live cultural pulse and generate content with actual friction and a spiky point of view, you utilize Grok's real-time architecture.
It is a totally different blueprint for interacting with this technology.
So what does this all mean? It means taking control. But before we wrap up, I know there is one more concept from the source material that provides a brilliant counterweight to everything we just discussed about Grok.
Yes, I want to leave you with a final structural concept to mull over regarding how you architect your business data.
Okay, let's hear it.
We just spent a significant amount of time praising Grok's expansive open web, unfiltered access to the public square. It is the ultimate extroverted AI.
Very extroverted.
But the Parker Prompts video briefly juxtaposes this with a tool released by Google called Notebook LM. And Notebook LM represents the exact extreme opposite philosophical approach to AI.
It is the absolute antithesis of the open web.
It is a completely sealed vault.
Vault.
Notebook LM utilizes a closed ORAG system. It analyzes only the specific documents you manually upload into it. It has zero access to the internet.
None at all.
None. It does not know what is trending on social media, and it cannot pull facts from a Wikipedia page. Because of this artificial limitation, it practically eliminates the risk of hallucination.
Because it can't guess.
Right. Every single answer it provides is grounded exclusively in your documents, and it provides exact clickable citations linking back to the specific paragraph in your source material.
It is a walled garden where you control every single seed that gets planted.
Precisely. So the challenge I leave you with is to consider implementing a dual engine architecture for your solo business.
A dual engine architecture, I like that.
Imagine explicitly dividing your operations. On one side, you have the external engine tools like Grok. You use this to surf the chaotic live tension of the web, research competitors, and generate provocative, outward-facing content that demands attention.
That's the caffeinated intern writing your edgy marketing copy.
Exactly. And on the other side, you build the internal engine using a locked-down tool like Notebook LM. This is where you upload your proprietary high-stakes data.
Your year-end financial records, your private customer interviews, your unreleased product schematics.
Yes. This is the vault where precision, absolute truth, and data privacy are non-negotiable.
You use the open tool to shout to the world, and you use the closed tool to quietly analyze your own profit margins without the risk of the AI making up a number.
That dual-engine approach gives you the absolute best of both worlds, perfectly segmenting your risk.
We started this session looking at the highly frustrating reality of managing brittle AI agents. But by implementing these structural patterns, memory, skills, and sparring, and strategically choosing your tools, you are finally equipped to put down the dustpan and actually buy back your time.
It's all about leverage.
It really is. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Go out there, update those durable facts, and start sparring with your ideas.